Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. No, this is real fun to talk to you, man, because I've always enjoyed the way you talk about cards and your love of vintage cards and was it the 54 that you're into?
Yeah, man.
And so it's like it makes me happy to hear that kind of content being made and that true love of the cards because there's so many people that are just obsessed about like flipping and breaking and all the other stuff. So whenever I come across absolutely real collectors, it gets me jazzed because that's how I feel.
That's awesome. I mean, I was showing the group before you joined, so I am collecting I finished the 54 top set.
Yep.
And so the new thing that I've been on, I was scrolling eBay one night and I'm a huge Albert Pujols fan. Like
Good
I,
man.
I like grew up with him as like my idol. And I saw a Pujols card and it was all chrome and shiny, but it had the 54 tops border. And I was like, what is
Yep.
that card? Like I need to have it.
That's
And
a cool card.
I went down the rabbit hole. Are you familiar with that Topps Heritage set?
Yep. 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 I know that card.
It was crazy. So I've been going through this rabbit hole now of collecting the
Sick.
Topps Heritage set that has all the players from my childhood, but also has the border of my favorite vintage set. So it was like unbelievable to discover that. And then I got really carried away and learned about what retrofractors were, which is what these are. These are all numbered to 554. And then there's the
Retro
paper,
factors. That's cool.
and then there's these as well that are the chrome parallel. So these are numbered to 1954 in honor of the 54 set, which I think is awesome.
That's
But
cool.
I've just been loving it. This is as modern as I get, but it's got that like vintage flair, and I don't know, just you specifically like love the chase of the cards, like opening them in the packs, and you also get like the set building thing. And
Yep.
I feel like there's a specific type of collector that like gets the set building thing. It's just fun. Like it's fun to complete it, you know?
Yeah, dude. The set building is a special thing. Like I don't meet too many people that are like obsessed with the set building the way that you are or that I am.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like a really calming thing. It's like a chance to like when I'm organizing cards and I'm, putting all the numbers together, like I did that a few days ago I bought a bunch of 2022
Yeah.
Bowman Chrome and I had like 4 or 5 boxes of it and I just like set them all out. I'm watching a show, I'm watching a movie. I got like a pizza out, so I'd ordered a pizza, I'm watching a movie and I'm organizing all these 2022 Chrome cards and for some reason, it like completely chills me out with whatever's going on in life or work or
Yeah.
everything else, set building, and then discovering, okay, these are the cards I'm missing. So what it does is instead of like just chasing the rock star cards, all of a sudden I find myself chasing like some common cards that like I would have never noticed previously. So like when I completed
Totally.
2022 Bowman, the Bowman set, just the regular, I mean, I was looking for like 3 or 4 cards that aren't worth anything. And all of a sudden I became fascinated with the idea of closing out the set and completing it. And so it's like I'm not just chasing like the rainbow cards, the refractors, superfractors, all the big fancy stuff. I'm looking for like paper card of a Bowman regular card that's worth like 2 cents, but I want to chase down that card. And I got this buzz about trying to it's like those final cards. I try to get them through trades. So I'll go to a card shop. Like I did that
Int-
actually with Bridgeport Hobby,
Okay.
where I went to the card shop in Chicago and I walked in. I can't remember the dude's name, but I was like, "Hey, man, I'm missing like 5 cards from this set, and I've got all these extra comments and stars and all these things. Like, if you give me like those 3 or 4 that I'm missing, I'll give you this whole stack of everything else I got because I just want to trade. I just want to be able to get it without having to buy any more packs or buy the cards from like checkoutmycards.com or whatever." And
Right.
so for me, set building is just like it's like this long term, lifelong quest, which is pretty cool. And it's cool that you've done that with 54.
Yeah, and there's so much that you said there that I like resonate with, but I like the idea too. Like I think especially what we've seen in the last couple of years with the hobby is people got really excited and there was a lot of money that went into it, right? And people were really fixated on the dollar signs to it. But what you're talking about, like it's cool to try to like one of these retrofractor cards. I'll pull a random guy from 2003, like Preston Wilson. This guy, I don't know who this is. I never watched him. I don't remember. but it's a numbered card out of 554, and like I would never look for this card or try to find it
Yeah.
unless I set collecting, and I like it now. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable, and the idea that also trade at the end, that's interesting. I haven't tried to do that before. I think that would be
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was working on, I remember about no, this is about no, 7 years ago. I was building the 1989 upper deck, and I wanted to build it naturally from opening packs. And it got down to where I was only missing one card in the entire set, which was a Wally Joyner base card, like just Wally Joyner. And I didn't know anything about the guy. He played for the Angels, and people were laughing because I'd walk into card shops and I'm like, "Do you have the Wally Joyner? Please tell me you have the '89 Upper Deck Wally Joyner." And nobody had it. And so I went to like all these. At the time, I was living in West Hollywood, and I was driving to all these card shops all over California, trying to find somebody that would trade me for a Wally Joyner card that's worth not even like a penny. And it
yeah,
just made the whole chase super fun. And so most people are looking for Ken Griffey Jr. or Gary Sheffield or Randy Johnson, and I was looking for Wally Joyner. I actually had, by the time I was finished opening all the boxes, I had like 6, 7, 8 Griffey Juniors, but I could not find that Wally Joyner. And chasing that down and finally finding this guy up in like Burbank that was willing to trade me a Wally Joyner card
dude.
for, a bunch of commons or a bunch of cards I had. It was such a rush. And so I like that kind of stuff.
I regret now, like, because that sounds a lot more fun. The way I finished, so I finished my 54 top set at the National this year, and
Awesome.
I was trying to film content. Like I went kind of by myself, and like I wanted to like film this big moment. I've been chasing the set for 2 years, and I was down one common. And you know how you've probably been to a billion shows, and you know the typical vintage dealer. And I was trying to explain to him I was building this set. I was trying to record a video of me buying it from him, and he wanted nothing to do with it. And like I ended up just buying it from him, and I was like, can I just like get a picture with you?"
Yeah.
I have this selfie with this vintage dealer who's got like this fake smile on his face, like, "Kid, get away from me. You just spent $8 on this stupid base card or whatever." But I was like sitting there by
Yeah.
myself as
Yeah, no, I get that, man. Like that was like that moment at the National this last year that blew my mind. It started as a joke and it became like this like serious thing that we were doing, which was me and my buddy that was there with me. We were chasing down trying to find the Jose Canseco Don Russ card.
yes.
And what it was is that how that all started is that there were dealers everywhere. Every dealer had like all these like $10,000 cards, $5,000 cards. It was just everyone had crazy expensive cards everywhere. And I was walking around and I was like, I wonder how hard it would be to find like one of the classic cards from like, when I was a kid, right? And I was like back in like 1989 when I was, in the middle of my card stuff as a child, as a kid, the '86 Donruss Jose Canseco was a card that nobody had, everybody wanted. And if you had been at the National kind of in the late '80s, early '90s, everyone would have wanted the Canseco. Like at the time it was selling for $100, and for a kid in the late '80s, $100 might as well have been $1 million. Nobody
Yeah.
could have that kind of level of value. And so the next day we showed up and we were like, we were trying to think of some sort of content we could film at the National, but I didn't want to just show another video of like, here's the Mickey Mantle PSA, 10, and here's the SGC 9.5. And I was like, everybody has already done that video. I want to do something different. And it popped in my head. I was like, I'm going to go around from table to table until I can find somebody that will sell me or, Canseco. And I looked at my wallet and I think I had like $36 or $40 or something like that. And it was hilarious that how many people, like we'd go to a table and people would like turn up their nose at me. They'd be like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, I'm looking for Canseco's rookie card. And they're like, why would you look for his card? And I was like, because it was so cool when I was a kid. I loved this card.
Yeah.
And people were like, these dealers were like a bunch of them were like super rude to us because they just couldn't,